Good day, gentle viewers. Welcome to an episode of Alastair Reviews It, where we are going to be doing the weekend movie review again. So welcome back. It's been a long hiatus. I've been gone for a long time. I've been training, and this is my first video back.
Your lint stuck in your stubble.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna be actually doing two movies for this video. We're gonna be doing Solo and Upgrade, both of which we saw this past weekend. Okay, so just so you know, I'm gonna give you a brief review that doesn't have a spoiler. I'm gonna actually go into a spoiler review, and then I'm gonna do that for the next video. So if you want to skip, there's chapter times below. So starting with Solo, George Lucas commissions the Solo script from Lawrence Kasdan back in 2012, before Lucasfilm was actually sold to Disney. So who knows why he didn't do an Obi-Wan film and did a Solo film instead.
I would have rather an Obi-Wan film.
I would have rather an Obi-Wan film too. I don't know why he did that, but that's what he did. But the movie has still been pretty controversial. So Kathleen Kennedy, the head of Lucasfilms and all things Star Wars ever since Lucasfilm has been sold to Disney, went ahead and fired Phil Lord and Christopher Miller halfway through the filming of Solo itself and replaced them with Ron Howard. This was due to creative differences. But apparently the film was going in a really bad direction that Kathleen Kennedy did not like, and so she fired the directors. Rumors were that the film was pretty bad and needed some serious TLC to be any good.
Just hired me. I feel like I would have made that film work.
Well, I thought it worked.
I thought it worked, but...
So the film, however, although we thought it worked, hasn't been doing well. It was supposed to get an opening weekend of about around 130 million. And got an opening weekend of around 84, I want to say $84 million. And keeps on plummeting, actually. But see, it's not doing as well as they thought it was.
Yeah, but see, this is the problem with these movies. It's like nowadays, every movie's supposed to join the $1 billion club, right? Like that's what all these big action epics
every Disney movie is supposed to.
And it's join. I feel like they're starting to lose quality just because they want quantity in terms of dollars.
I disagree, because I think the quality has to be pretty out there in order for them to actually achieve what they want, especially if they're interweaving all these like universes together. So one of the reasons why Solo hasn't been doing very well is because a lot of Star Wars fans have decided to abstain from watching the movie because the studio and Kathleen Kennedy have decided to have failed to give fans what they want and crave from the movie franchise. Kathleen Kennedy even stated after The Last Jedi that she does not need to cater to the male fans. I think that now we're seeing a time where the Star Wars is no longer invulnerable and needs to pay attention to what its consumers want. However, saying that, we were delightfully surprised by how Solo turned out. I went in with a very low expectation for the movie. I figured, you know, I gotta see it because it's a Star Wars movie. And so we went to see it and we actually enjoyed ourselves a lot. I thought it was a bit long, but overall a very solid film to watch.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. I mean, it wasn't a movie that was actually needed in the franchise. I feel like yeah. Rogue One was a much needed story to be told because it was so quintessential in what movie? The first Star Wars?
It explains how everything starts out.
And so Solo, you know, we already know Han Solo. We know when he's introduced in the first original Star Wars movie, so we didn't really need a Solo, you know, prequel, but I feel like I liked it enough that I welcome it into the franchise. I'm also a very new Star Wars fan. I'm very new, very recent. So over Christmas break, we actually watched We bought all the Star Wars movies and I watched them beginning to end. I remember seeing, you know, bits and pieces while I was growing up, but I'm just now getting into Star Wars.
I made him push through.
Yeah.
I made him push through.
Rogue One was the movie that got me into Star Wars, so I was hoping for it to be something like Rogue One because it's a Star Wars story, but it wasn't. But I did. You know, I did enjoy it. I didn't know who Lando was. I didn't know he was already a character.
Yeah, you were like, oh yeah, I like this Lando.
I know, I like the Lando character a lot. I'm like, they're gonna. I was like, they're gonna introduce him in the newer movies. Watch, I bet they're gonna bring him in. Well, apparently he's already been a character.
Okay, so and if your concern was that the new actor wasn't gonna do Harrison Ford justice as Han Solo. Great. I think if you just don't think about it, it works.
Pretend it's not happening. Just close your eyes.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Arendelle. Okay, moving on.
Okay, so that's it for my spoiler-free opinion on the Solo film.
That was long. Spoiler-free.
Yeah, it was very long. So now you can either skip to my upgrade review. You can see the chapter times in the description box below. Or you can stay put and hear what we have to say, or just go out and watch it and then come back.
Hello, it's me.
Okay, so going into what we kind of liked about the movie, I have to say what really caught on to me was the characters in the actual movie. So again, I'm surprised to say that I like the new Han Solo played by Alden Ehrenreich. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Han or Han?
Han.
Yeah, because that's how Lando was saying Han, and you just said Han.
I said Han Solo.
Han Solo.
I thought he was gonna ruin the film, but again, once I stopped comparing them,
I just didn't have any expectations, honestly. I liked Harrison Ford as Han Solo, but I wasn't as invested as older Star Wars fans are. So
yeah,
I didn't really care that they recast him, and I thought he did a great job because of it.
Well, it's because you're very new to this.
I know. I think anybody who's been with the series a long time probably had. They were probably a lot more.
They had misgivings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so next, so for Kira, I liked her a lot. She was a survivor, and you could tell that, you know, she had really human emotion. She felt for everything she did, but at the end of the day, it was about her and her getting where she needed to be.
And I wasn't mad about that.
I wasn't mad about it either.
Yeah, since this is the spoiler part, at the end, she makes a phone call to Darth Maul, and
it looks like an alliance.
Because we'd been talking. I have no patience to watch the Star Wars Legos, Rebels.
No.
the animated show of the Star Wars. I have no patience for that.
The animated version of Star Wars.
Okay. Yeah.
You have no patience to watch.
I have no patience to watch that, but I do know Darth Maul's like origin story and what happens after Star Wars episode, what is it, 1? Darth Maul's in episode 1, yeah. So I know what happens to him after that, and I know that he survived and all of that, and so it was really exciting seeing him in this Star Wars movie.
Which is actually before that.
I would like to see a Darth Maul movie. TBH.
Donald Glover, he also did a good job as a younger, however more flamboyant Lando. We know from the original Star Wars movies that the Millennium Falcon like belonged to him originally, and we kind of go into that, and he's a lot more, I say, roguish. Well, actually, you don't pay attention to the other films, so I feel like he's a lot more roguish in this movie, a lot more flamboyant, and just like has a lot more personality than the Lando we know of before.
I was excited to see it was childish Gambino. You know?
Well, I mean, the entire time I kept on hearing in my head, "This is the galaxy."
You're such a liar. I came up with that. You son of a bitch. He's such a liar. And if you edit this part out, I'm gonna be so pissed.
No, that's what I was thinking.
You leaned over.
That's what I was thinking.
In the theater, he leaned over to me when Donald Glover came on, and he said, "This is America." And I leaned back over and I said, "This is the galaxy." Little. He's gonna spit his tea out all over his computer. Okay.
Okay. So for going kind of into what we disliked about the movie, I thought it was really well structured, however long.
I thought it was way too long.
And it was entertaining. It was entertaining. It had a
I did get bored. I know a lot of people's complaints were that it was boring, and I could see that. There were pacing problems throughout the whole thing. I think the adventure storyline wasn't quite up to par with the adventure storylines of the past movies. It did lack a little bit, but enjoyable overall.
Yeah, so, it was very enjoyable. However, going back to Kira, I felt like she was Princess Leia. I felt like if they were going to do a live action of Princess Leia, it should have been Emilia Clarke.
I'm hoping they don't do a live action, or already have. But well, I hope they don't do. This is what I don't want to see happen in Star Wars. I don't want to see them start recycling all these characters. I don't want to see another Luke Skywalker, another Princess Leia recast as other people, because we've seen them in other movies before.
They've already said that they're going to do it. So
I know, but I want them to bring in new people. I want new characters, because I don't want to keep, we're going in a rinse cycle right now. It's just around and around and around. Well, it's kind of annoying.
They're also talking about going back and going into the games and bringing characters from there.
Well, if they're new characters, I'm open for it, but I don't want to see Princess Leia.
Like Knights of the Old Republic. I think they should do a Knights of the Old Republic movie.
Let's continue.
I think she should have played Leia, and I think since she was so similar to Leia, it kind of takes away some of the specialness of the romance between Princess Leia and Han Solo himself. Well, another thing I didn't like was the reveal of Enfys Nest. I felt like if they hadn't have had her take off the mask at the end, you wouldn't have known she was a female. And the fact that they started to do it, like at that moment I knew, oh, she's a woman, because otherwise they wouldn't have taken it off. When she was a teenager, and it just didn't make sense to me that she was like leading this pack
I didn't believe it.
Rogues.
I think I just didn't.
It wasn't believable.
It wasn't believable. Not so much that it was because it's a woman, but because the actress didn't seem very capable. She didn't seem very leader-like. In terms of like when the character's first introduced in the movie during a heist, the character is pretty badass, I thought. And then when they demasked her, like the actress just wasn't. She was very. She wasn't a leader. I didn't buy her as a leader.
The thing is, Enfys Nest seemed like before she took off her mask, she seemed like a very long-standing character that's been there for a while.
Oh, and she already a character that's been there.
Yeah, and now it would, I don't know, the reveal was kind of, it took something away. I wish they would have gone with an older, like more veteran woman than the teenager or the teenage looking woman that they
want. An old woman, yo.
Again, the last thing that we didn't like is I didn't feel like there was a real contribution to this whole Star Wars cinematic universe. Like it didn't really change anything. The only thing that really maybe changed something was the meeting between Kira and Darth Maul. And I really hope that they go forward with that in the future.
I think they're gonna bring something like that into the universe, because otherwise, why would you leave Kira alive if she was supposed to be like the love of Solo's life? Because they didn't end on bad terms.
She's not.
They didn't end on bad terms, but she was apparently the love of his life, but she just kind of floated away in her spaceship. And so, obviously, there would have to be some sort of resolution to that for him to be able to so willingly go in with Princess Leia and fall in love with Princess Leia. I don't know. I think there's some plot holes that they need to.
I don't think there's any plot holes. I think they're going to kill her.
There definitely are. There's plot holes right now that they need to resolve going forward. They can't just leave all this open, so they are going to have to bring the characters
They can't
back.
leave all this open, but at the same time, like the movie's done very poorly, that they're just going to have to reapproach everything. Okay, so we're going to be...
Let's reboot the Solo franchise.
No.
Yes! Loved Upgrade.
So why did we go see Upgrade?
We went... I have been harassing on Twitter Jason Blum and Blumhouse over this damn Halloween trailer ever since it premiered at CinemaCon, and there was a big rumor that, from things that he said and just people starting rumors, that the Halloween trailer was going to premiere before Upgrade, and so I made sure our asses were in seats come Friday night on the night the Upgrade came to our theater, and it was not attached to Upgrade. The Halloween trailer was nowhere to be found. Definitely saw the Mission Impossible trailer again for the billionth time. But there was no Halloween trailer. However,
I don't think we're gonna watch it.
However, I do really like Logan Marshall Green, so I was very excited to see him, a movie that he was in, and I friggin' loved Upgrade. I thought Upgrade was a fantastic sci-fi movie, and I think it was the first sci-fi movie for Blumhouse.
Yeah, so the movie itself is set in a not so distant future when society has become very reliant on technology. So in the film, Gray Trace, who's played by Logan Marshall Green, and his wife get into an accident. His wife is then murdered, and Gray's spine is broken. The head of a corporation implants a chip into him called STEM that communicates for his brain to his body. And then he kind of goes on a revenge-fueled quest to seek out his wife's murderer, and it's kind of like a John Wick and Taken and Blade Runner all in one. It's
Kill Bill. I was thinking Kill Bill while I was watching it. Honestly, it's very reminiscent of a bunch of different movies, but it's not so much that it feels like
it's definitely
its own movie. It doesn't feel like it's ripping off of any movie, but it does feel like it's paying homage to other things.
I really hope this becomes kind of a sci-fi indie classic.
It's gonna become a cult classic, and I'm really hoping there's a sequel because it does set it up for a sequel.
It is so good.
We're going into spoilers now because I don't want to not talk about them, so y'all can click out if you haven't seen it. Anyway, so the ending.
Don't start with the ending. Okay, let's start with what we liked. So for Logan Marshall Green, I thought he was very believable. So when they implanted the chip, the way he moved was the same way that I think that a machine would tell your body to move. You know, and he really kept with that the entire movie.
He did. Logan Marshall Green was definitely dedicated to that role, and I thought he did a fantastic job. I liked my favorite thing of the movie, my favorite part of the movie, my favorite thing about the movie was that it wasn't trying to overdo itself, so it wasn't trying to blow up and destroy some big city, and you know,
it was contained.
It was very contained. It was very small. There wasn't like they weren't trying to take down the government. There was a corporation in there, and it wasn't really even a corporation.
It wasn't even about the corporation.
It
tended to just be about that little piece of technology that had advanced so much.
Yeah,
that it wanted to be a part of him.
Pretty much, in terms of speaking roles, there was a very small cast, and it was very contained within its own self. And I thought that worked fantastic for what this movie was trying to achieve.
It did. It had really good pacing. At first, when I was watching the movie, I think there was a scene. I think after his wife died and he's in the hospital, and he just like turns to the side, and I was like, I don't think this movie's gonna work out for me. Like, I don't think it's gonna be good. And then it started getting really good. I thought it was gonna be cheesy at first, but then it started getting really good. We only really went there,
and it was funny too. It was violent. I didn't realize how violent this movie was gonna be, because you think a sci-fi movie, they're gonna be more into technology and all this stuff. This is a straight up horror movie, yo. This is sci-fi, but there's a lot of horror.
They call it a sci-fi body horror.
I don't know what they call it, but it was bad. It was bloody. It was gory. There's one specific fight scene where after he first gets STEM, he goes and he tracks down one of the killers. One of the guys who killed his wife, and he goes to his house, and they have this big, you know, fight sequence in it, and it's badass fight sequence. All the fight sequences are fantastically choreographed, and then there's one part where he just gives STEM a command, because STEM is controlling his body. He gives STEM a command.
He tells STEM to finish the fight. Permission to help him.
He just says finish the fight, but he didn't mean kill the guy, and STEM literally just. I don't even know how would you say it. He grabs a knife and he goes, and it's like it's all up in there. It's gory, y'all. Well, if you don't like gory movies, like, you might want to be wary. There's a few parts you got to cover your eyes.
And so I feel when I was watching the movie, I wasn't paying attention as closely as I should have to STEM, and when Gray would give STEM like permission to do things with his body.
Yes.
Stem would take that inch and go a mile.
Oh yeah, you could definitely see Stem's like throughout the movie. Stem was plotting.
He was plotting himself. He was insinuating himself.
He was plotting, yeah. So
every single time, and I didn't realize that until the twist ending.
Big twist ending. It's really hard. It's not a hard concept to grasp when you see it, but it's kind of hard to explain, I think.
Well, because they used a tried and true like sci-fi like flick thing. Oh, it's a corporation technology stuff, and it's a CEO trying to take over.
Basically, it's Gray versus Stem. Stem is implanted in Gray, and Stem is slowly throughout the movie gaining more and more control over Gray. But Gray still has his mind and can still, control his own body and can fight Stem. And so the climax comes when Gray doesn't want to kill this cop. The cop is sitting there in front of him. Stem is really trying to kill him, and Gray is like trying to push the gun over. Stem's trying to push the gun back to the cop to kill her, and Gray pushes his mind so far that it just cuts to a hospital scene, and it was so weird because the hospital scene, like his wife walks in and is like, "Hey, you've been out for a couple of days," and at first I was like, "Bullshit! I don't want an ending like this." I thought it was a dream. I thought it was an ending where he woke up from a dream, and this whole Stem nonsense had been a dream, and that wasn't how it was, because they're talking, they're having a sweet moment, and then immediately it cuts back to the cop, and the cop's like, "Gray, you're still in there. I know you don't have to do this. This isn't you." And it's not Gray. It's Stem now. And Stem says,
"He's in a better place.
This isn't Gray anymore. Gray is in his own mind. All I needed him to do was break his mind, and I could have control over his body." So Gray's pretty much locked in his own mind. He doesn't even know that Stem is still there. He's just in the fantasy he created in his mind, and Stem now has control over his body, kills the cop, and takes off. And we end the film on a cliffhanger, Stem's out there, Stem's loose, and
Stem's doing what Stem do.
The ending was amazing. The ending, it was such a subtle little twist that if you think about the movie in retrospect, it makes complete sense. It wasn't something that was just thrown in there. It was original. The movie did amazing.
We were shook.
It was great. I was greatly happy.
Greatly happy. So the movie is a cautionary tale about the reliance on technology. That's what I got at the end. It's a cautionary tale.
Go see Upgrade. Out of these two movies, I would say go see Upgrade. Spend your money on Upgrade.
I would agree. And Solo. I would agree. And
bootleg Solo.
Thank you for watching with my guest, Zachary from Adventures.
I'm only contracted for a couple more episodes of this shit.
Okay.
This chicken shit show.